Hey, this is Sam OG. Man, you know, I used to only do videos outside walking and go in the train yard and go outside my work to walk beside the water. But times have changed. I don't work there anymore, and I don't have the same kind of time I used to have, or I don't know. It's just sometimes I find myself a little cheap just to do these driving videos, but at the same time, that's what works best for me. Keeps me warm in the morning, and I'll also give me that drive to wake up and get ready, just because I like to shoot those. And I know some people also like the timing of those, because it's really early in the morning on the East Coast, and for some people they wake up in the morning and boom, the video is there. So it's like good timing and everything. And it's good timing with me as well, because I can only upload those videos at work now. For some reason, because I put some HD content now, my internet is way too slow for that. But anyway, so now I have a new project coming up. I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. It's a Torchbearer learning experiment on Hangout. It's with a guy named Shannon Bell, which is salute if you watch this. I don't know you yet. And a guy named Runeslinger, who and the three of us are gonna share the GMing duty and the playing duty. If all the members are cool with it, but it looks like it. And it's the whole idea is that none of us have played before. I played at PAX East, but I didn't. I played like 2 hours. It's so I have a little idea of how it goes. But we all have the books and the player decks and all that. So we've read a little bit, and that's what we're gonna learn together. That's the whole thing. And I decided to because yesterday was too much of a super ramble, and I was like, nah, I don't want to be, I don't want to fall into that pit hole of rambling in the morning, So I decided I ramble all the time, but it's no big deal. I decided to do a Torchbearer serie. Oh, and it's not gonna be like that Shadowrun series I did in the past, where I got caught up in the mix of having like too many stuff I was trying to discuss, and starting on tangents like the races, and then the weapons, and I'm gonna do like a rule video and then a matrix video and all that stuff. It's too long, and it's too much of a burden, because after a while you just get tired of it, and you have this list of stuff like this groceries, the grocery list of topic. No, this Torchbearer series is gonna be a conceptual one. I'm not gonna get caught up in those series where the vlogger is just trying to describe everything, and that's not what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use the vlogging for what it does best for me, which is learning new stuff. I talked about it in the past. When I vlog, I get to brainstorm, I get to vocalize, I get to discuss, because I talk with people, I share with people, with the answers and the comment and all that. and I get to understand better the things I talk about, just because of that rhetorical activity. So, since I need to learn Torchbearer, then I gotta get ready. I'm gonna get ready by doing so. So, I have this is gonna be like a first read, like a quick first read review of Torchbearer. So it's not gonna be like in-depth review with the book and everything. It's not gonna be aesthetic, and I'm gonna talk about artwork. I'm gonna talk about the game. So the whole idea is that it's an homage to classic dungeon crawl D&D and old school dungeon crawl RPGs. And the premise is that they tried to take all the rules that nobody used, like encumbrance, like movement, darkness and lighting, light sources, food and ratios, rations of food, and all the good stuff, all the stuff that most people just go over and don't really use, because they want to tell a story. I don't want to get bogged down with with movement and rations and all that. And it's totally understandable. It's totally understandable, because I've been there myself. I understand with these old games, those rules are just a burden. They are in the periphery, like just outside of the system, kind of thing. They like add-ons. Oh, okay, so you need to eat, you need to roll this kind of stuff, or you need to move in the dark and give yourself these things, these problems, And what happens is that most people, they since they don't want to get bothered, and they want to feel powerful, and they want to tell good stories, they end up saying that the rocks in the caverns are glooming, and there are some torches that are lit, that are magical sources, and you don't have those malices of on your dice rolls, and you don't need to eat. You're like arcade mode. It ends up being an arcade mode, and all these little tweaky encumbrance rules doesn't matter. So people get all kinds of stuff, and they walk around, So so these guys at Burning Wheel Headquarters, they decided to say, now in 2000, mid 2000, we have more experiences with design than you guys had in the 70s. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna show you how to do it well, kind of thing. It's not the way they say it, really. It's just me, the way I interpret it, because they managed to create a game that is all about dungeon crawl. It simulates what, in a really gamist way, what adventurers would experienced in dungeon. The whole idea of this game, the whole purpose, it's that. It doesn't do anything else. It's really just that. Like it's quite simple, You open the book, it's level 1 to 5, and that's it. It's not like a tale of epic proportion. It's like, okay, trying to go there and survive. Now the game is structured in a really, really super thick way. Like, you have turns. Every time you roll the dice is a turn, and every time you roll 4 times, so every 4 turn, you get a new, what they call, condition, and this is your HP. There's no HP in the game. It's all about condition. So so basically, like, you have like fresh, and then you have like thirsty and hungry and tired. I don't know them by heart yet, but and then angry, and then injured, and then sick, and then scared, and then dead. You know, it's like, and it's not in that order, but something like that. And when so the whole idea is that every time you get a new condition going on the scale, you're getting closer to death. And even if nothing happens to you, every 4 dice roll, everybody gets a new one in the party. So think about this. You go in a dungeon, you have like 4 adventurers, and they want to roll dice. That's the whole thing. That's the whole game. So basically, you go through that dungeon, and you don't roll for anything in that game. I will give you an example. You want to sneak to a guard to take the keys he has in his pocket to open a door. You're not gonna do a stealth to get closer, a pickpocketing to get the key, and a stealth to go away. You're not gonna do that. Like, it's not gonna be like 4 or 5 rolls to one thing. It's one roll to narrate the whole scene, kind of thing. The skills are like umbrella skills that covers all kinds of stuff in an arborescence. So it's really that kind of game where it's super precise in what it does to keep track of all these rules that nobody never used, most people never used. But it cannot streamline everything else in order to make every roll count. So when the group of adventurers come into that room and that dungeon, one guy want to look for traps, that's one roll. One guy want to get the treasure, that's one roll. One guy want to go and interpret what's written on the wall, that's one roll. So the whole idea is that every time you roll, it can take a couple hours. So let's say I want to pick lock this chest to get the treasure, it's gonna take a couple hours. I want to look for traps, it's gonna take a couple hours. But this is only one roll, and everybody narrates it in a way that it takes time. So therefore, every 4 roll, it's like a day has passed. You know, like half a day has passed or something. So everybody get tired and hungry and all that. So you have these adventurers, they come into that room, and now one guy want to look for trap, one other guy want to look for the treasure, and one other guy want to interpret what's on the wall. And now, but none of the people in the group want to spend 3 rolls on that. So now you need to make a choice. Nobody wants to spend three rolls. So are you gonna avoid looking for trap and take a chance and only go for the scriptures and the chest? Are you gonna say, okay, no, we need to look for traps and then take the chests and fuck the scriptures? And then there's this conversation and roleplay between the characters all the time, because there's always gonna be stuff you wanna do, but you're not gonna have enough stuff in your backpack to make sure you survive. And you know, it's really interesting. So you that's the thing. And then you have like adventure phases. You have like 4 different phases. You have three different phases. You have the town. 4 different phases. You have the town, which is where the adventure starts, kind of thing. It's especially where you go back with your treasures. This the whole idea is to get treasures in dungeons. There's nothing else with that. So once you get your treasures in your dungeons, you go back to the town, and then you get to spend the stuff and roleplay and get some more info on your next story, or create stuff and especially heal and get better and everything. But it's all randomly rolled on tables. It's a game of tables, random tables. So you don't know what's gonna happen. So it's super chaotic. It's actually GM friendly in that sense, because it's just everybody rolls. So the GM needs to kind of interpret the tables and go with it, kind of thing. It's really cool. And So once that is done, um, you have the adventure phase. Now in the adventure phase, it's where you are in the dungeon, going to do the adventures. All kind of stuff happens. This is where you have the turn and the checks, and you earn your checks and stuff like that. And then after a while in the adventure phase, you need to pace yourself with the rolls and the turns to eventually go into what we call camp phase. In the camp phase, this is where you actually rest and roleplay and discuss and do all kinds of stuff while you are in the dungeon, in the adventure phase. And the other phase is called winter. It's basically a town phase, but this one is different. It's a longer one. This is the one where you level up kind of thing. This is the one where you don't go on adventure because it's the winter, and you tell stories of your accomplishment and stuff. So I think if I'm right, I'm not sure about this. You start your game going on like go in the town, whatever, but it's not the town phase. You start your game in the adventure phase. You camp a couple of times. You come back to town. You go back on adventure, and when you come back, it's winter phase. So it's like every time adventure, town, adventure, winter. The 4th season. It's a season. It's work like the seasons of the years. It's really, really cool. It's a little bit like Mouse Guard in that fashion. So that's basically how it goes. And then there's all sorts of specific mechanics. I don't want to get into it. My review is that it's a really good way to streamline the basic Burning Wheel design of character advancement. Every time you roll, you mark dots on your sheet and you get better. So you don't level up with experience point. You level up with the use of the skills. They streamline that. They streamline the Arta cycle as well. Really cool way. It's a really good streamlined approach to Burning Wheel, and the belief and how the belief works and the instincts and all that. They really it's less precise, so it's another experience. It's different. It's a good way to recycle something that they already have, and it's also a good way to keep their identity as game developers, as a game studio kind of thing, as a company. So I really like what they've done. Now it's a totally different game. It's really more like a game. It's less like an epic storytelling system to create to tell a good story with your friend. It's less collaborative. It is collaborative. It can be played in a really collaborative way, or it doesn't have to. It's way more traditional. And so I like that as well. The fact that if I want to play it traditional, I can. And if I want to play it collaborative, I can go to a certain point where it's pretty much a share narrative experience, because it works on the same premise of Burning Wheel, where if you fail, the GM tells you what happened. If you succeed, you tell what happened. So that is and it's mechanically embedded in a way that it is rewarding in the game, so you gotta do it. The same thing with all the light sources, the encumbrance rule, the movement rule, and all that. The reason why people never use them is because they were a burden. In Torchbearer, you have to. It's the game. It is. You cannot go without it. It's the game. Every time you roll the dice, every 4 turn, your torch loses his HP kind of thing. The torch, you lose light sources, and so all these rules are embedded in the core design of the game, which is based on every time you roll the dice. So all these rules, these encumbrance, movement, backpack, light sources, food, all that is intricately linked to every dice roll. That is amazing because it forces you. I mean, you cannot go without them. So you cannot decide to say, "Oh, I'm gonna take Torchbearer and I'm gonna play it like I want." You cannot. That's another thing. For some people, the people who like the people who like to make light version of games, like, you know, they take a game and they take away the stuff they don't like just to play it in a way that is like super streamlined, and it, you know, you cannot with the Torchbearer, and it's really hard to do with Burning Wheel as well. It's like these games are just, they are like a package of rules and design choices that are built together in a way that if you take something away, stuff starts to fall down, kind of thing. And it doesn't work because you have to, if you don't accept what comes with the consequence of that rule, but you're not playing the game anymore, kind of thing. It's really well made in that way. So for some people it can be really annoying because it's a strong mechanic. You have to follow the rules. You cannot go over it. You know, it's really hard to go over it. So that's one thing about that. Now, what I don't like, it's hard for, because I just play 2 hours in a convention, but what I don't like, you know, like probably the same thing as Burning Wheel, because they look alike, you know, obviously, like the fact that it's, you know, I'm gonna have to read it more, you know, a lot of hours. It takes time to learn. It's just, there's so many little rules everywhere, and they're not especially intuitive, you know. They're not intuitive. They all have little twerks, and sometimes it's annoying, you know, honestly. And you know, it's just, it's not perfect. You cannot have what you want. It's just, you know, every time you get into a new situation, there is a new rule. So and it's not like Ubiquity, for example. When you play Ubiquity, it's kind of like the same dice roll for everything, and it kind of like serve everything in the game. It's super intuitive. You understand that, you understand 80% of it. In Torchbearer, you understand the core mechanic, you only understand 50% of the game, because the rest of all the situation you're going to be put in, they all have, you get a +1d for that. Why? Because that's a +1 OB for that. Why? Because here you have an extra die if you want, and if you, when you are in this situation, there's that. And so it's really frustrating, because in Burning Wheel is the same thing. When you play these games, you get to the point where you play and you start to feel comfortable, and you keep on realizing that you forgot about this die you had there, you forgot about this hobby that you're supposed to have there, you forgot about this little rules that you had there. Oh, this is an option you didn't consider because you forgot. And it's just frustrating, because you keep playing and you feel like you're not playing it well, kind of thing. You are doing, you know, 85% right, but there's still little mistakes all the time. It's just, fuck. It's kind of frustrating for that. And the book is the book is beautiful, obviously, but and it's well written, but don't look for a rule in that book, man. It's just, they are everywhere. It's not a big book, you know. It's kind of like a slim book, but they are everywhere. You know, so that's why the players deck and the GM screen are amazing, like, honestly, because there's so many things you need to consider: food, light sources, backpack encumbrance, movements, and on top of like your belief, your instinct, and all that stuff. So man, that's a lot of bookkeeping, you know. If you don't like bookkeeping, this is not a game for you. If you don't like the grind, they call it the grind in the game. It's a grind. It's a really grindy experience where every decision counts, and it's always like a two side of a medal. If you do that, you're gonna have this problem. If you do that, you're gonna have this problem. Two-sided of a medal. There's always like it's power gamers will love that. Min-maxers as well. You cannot min-max your character, really. It's really hard because of the way the character creation is made, but you can definitely how can I say that, you can optimize your decision making, and that is really cool. So it's really grindy game. So when you go in that dungeon and you manage to go away with the treasure, like come back to town with a treasure and get to spend the money to get a better sword, it's like, wow, man, it's the end of the world. You're so happy because now you can go in a bigger dungeon, fight some bigger monsters, you know. That's really, really cool. There are so many things, you know. This is a really super long video, and I gotta stop it soon. So overall, I'm really excited about this. It's not a super good review, but you know that's the way I like it. That's the way I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna talk more about stuff. Maybe I'm gonna get down into some more precision in the next videos. But be on the lookout for this Torchbearer serie. And yeah, and if you have any question, stuff that you'd like me to discuss, let me know in the comment section. Alright, talk to you soon.